Our next shoe we want to make as part of our arsenal is a Z Bar. A Z Bar is a shoe that you put on a foot that is missing or has a bad injury to other portions of the foot. You can use it on quarter cracks, but more often I'm using it on a horse that has actually lost a portion of his hoof. Oftentimes the horse will get beside a barn and a piece of tin that comes off the side of the barn will catch part of the hoof, and as they lose a portion of their hoof, then a Z Bar will go everywhere where I still have foot and leave the area that does not have foot unsupported and allow it to kind of grow back without bearing weight. Okay, we start this shoe with an off-center heat, and we're just making a bend in the stock. It's just kind of like a toe bend we're not committed to. That allows me to get closer to the end where I'm going to build my my frog plate and my heel for the good side. Okay, so we're going to come out here. We're going to do a hoggy stick, and then do another little hoggy stick to make a nice solid heel. Okay, an important aspect of my Z Bar is the frog plate. I want my frog to be able to support some weight on this hoof that is missing a portion of his hoof. So I fold it up. This is your hoggy stick move. Same thing you use on the back side of a straight bar. Same move you use to make a frog plate or a heart bar. Only this one we're not going to sharpen up like a traditional frog plate. We're just going to square it up. Okay, so that'll be coming up through the center of the foot. We'll do another little hoggy stick right beside it. Okay, this next hoggy stick is a very difficult one to get a nice clean corner like on the back side of a heart bar, straight bar. So I'm going to come to here. I'm actually going to put just a little talinga in the middle of that. I put it in the position. Now normally we come in like this with a hoggy stick, but if I do that it just collapses my frog plate. So I'm going to come to the side. I'm going to turn my hammer in my hand. And as that starts to bow on me, I just come right back to my horn and straighten it back up. Straight down hammer swing, just have the hammer turned in my hand. Then come up around my horn and just make the back side of that shoe. Okay, so that gave me a nice solid corner, gave me some good mass there. Okay, now we'll do a hoggy stick on this portion. Okay, now this is going to be the damaged side of the foot, and we're just going to do a little hoggy stick. Okay, I'm going to clean it up on the heel right here. Now we'll bend this around and weld it in the middle. All right, so we get a heat. Okay, so there's your basic Z Bar setup. Okay, to weld, just smash those down, and I don't worry much about scarfing. Now it's very important whenever you weld that you use the toe of your hammer, or if you'd prefer the heel of your hammer. If I were overlapped the other way, I would use the heel of my hammer. But since I'm overlapped this, like if I was coming in here, I'd want to weld with the heel of my hammer. But since I'm overlapped this way, I can come in with the toe of my hammer. So I'm going to come out, it's going to be a direct blow in the middle, then I'm going to use the toe of my hammer to blend away the seams. Just blend away that seam. As soon as that seam disappears, you turn it over and blend away that seam. Once my seams are gone, we'll brush, flux, and get another heat. Okay, so now I just weld, make that solid. Okay, there's a good move to allow me to get to the edges of my weld and clean this up. Similar to your patent bar move, where I lift on the shoe as I turn that inside out. Now I can come up here and you don't want to have that sharp corner. So it's a good time to get rid of that sharp corner right there. So that move is going to allow me to hit here as I lift on the shoe. That's going to turn that bar out where I can now have access to it with my hammer. So I come to a roundish corner, I can get on top of it, I can come to here to get inside of it, and I can clean up that sharp edge. And then to put it back, it's simply a matter of hammering it back. All right, do a little shaping, and our Z-bar is done. I've talked a lot about shaping on your horn, but whenever you have a shoe with something on the inside, you can't get to your horn where you need to. So those same radii will exist. I just got to find them on the tip of my horn. Same thing whenever you have a heart bar. The tip of your horn becomes very, very important. So you're still in the forging zone, just in a little bit different part of the anvil. But with something like this, I've got to use the tip of my horn to find those spots. And you'll find that if you learn how to do this, it's a very handy thing for a heart bar as well. So now you can imagine this as a portion of a shoe with that portion of the foot missing, and all that's left now is to fuller it. So we'll fuller right around from heel to side and then put a bunch of nails in it. All right, we're going to fuller around the shoe. Just like we did in the ring exercise on the straight bar video, we're just moving that shoe under our creaser. So now it's marked, I can go a little bit harder. Now right here, my creaser is a little bit wide for that tight of a radius. You can see how clean it is here, but then when I get up here, it gets a little choppy because the blade is just a little bit wide for that tight of radius. So let me get a smaller creaser. Okay, so this is just a little narrow, kind of specialty creaser for tight radius. Okay, so that cleaned up any hash marks that were left by that wide creaser. Okay, on this shoe especially, I'm going to want a lot of nailing opportunity. And if I'm missing a portion of the foot, then it's not going to be that big a deal to go ahead and nail through the toe, which is a non-traditional spot, but still a wonderful spot for putting nails. All right, now hammer around the backside. Clean up your frog eyes. Right on top of that horn. And now with a nail in the center of the toe, we really angle that nail. So pretty upright through my heels. I get towards the toe, I angle it more and more. When your pritchel starts sticking like that, just quench it again. It's just getting hot. Okay, so what do we have here? We have 13 holes. It's probably lucky for the horse. We'll pop a toe clip on it and then this shoe will be done. Okay, just lower my shoe as I get my source material out for the clip. I level around it before I actually pull the clip. Come to the side, hammer straight down. Once I've established the width of my base, then I turn my hammer and still hammer straight down until I draw out the clip that I'm after. Now it's actually just a little bigger than probably needed for a horse like this. And then lay the clip down at the angle of the wall. This is a very useful shoe for horses that are missing a portion of their wall. And you can modify it for whatever hoof you have. I mean, it can cut across here as easily as cut across here. So whatever portion of the foot you have, then that's where your Z bar exists. Start out with an off-center toe bend. After we get the off-center toe bend, we will do the hockey stick that then becomes our frog support plate, and then do another hockey stick that becomes the back of our shoe. So we'll upset into there and upset into there. And the move for making that hockey stick was to put this portion of the shoe on the anvil, turn the hammer in our hand, and hit with a straight swing, but an angled hammer. Bend this piece around, do the hockey stick that then becomes that portion of our shoe, and bring them in together, weld in the middle. Now I know I have this done a different way in my book, but I found this to be a little more consistent way of making them to a foot.